What's going on, guys? We're back, and today we got a brand new video looking at plug power because there's some interesting things going on with insiders and the insider trading that might point to exactly what's going to happen on plug power's earning day, which is coming up on August 12th. We all know that it's coming pretty soon, and we are going to be able to see what's going on with the company, look into the financials yet again, and with insiders doing what they're doing, maybe we can see exactly where the stock is heading. But first, we can look at the chart of plug power as usual, and we see the giant gap up. We had a massive pump, 26% day on plug power, to jump from where it closed the last day at around $17.19, got up all the way to around almost $22 per share. So a massive jump for plug. We see it trying to break out of this upper channel here. We've been in this channel for a long time, rallying from the bottom to the top, higher lows, higher highs, officially definitely a higher high here. So what we'd be looking for, one, is to maybe not go below $16 again for a higher low. If the market stays in a good spot, we're probably not going to have to worry about it too much. And we want to see a full candle, maybe a full 2 or 3 candles above this line right here, so that we can know that we've broken out and kind of go from there. And we'd be forming a tighter wedge here, and we'd see a bigger move up or down by sometime, middle of September, October-ish, and or whether we go up to probably a pretty quick way to $28 or break down, which would probably go back to 19. So interesting things for plug shaping up. If the market's healthy, stays good, nothing throws everything off course again, we probably see plug trying to work its way up. If something crazy happens, I mean, anything can happen in this market. Bad news seems to come out all the time that could send us lower. But this gap right here was made from this right here. We saw Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 got passed. We see it right here. Invest in technologies needed for all fuel types, from hydrogen, nuclear, renewables, fossil fuels, and energy storage, to be produced and used in the cleanest ways possible. That's what Manchin said. I think he was the deciding vote on this thing, and he flipped last minute. And that's where all the excitement came for plug. They make green hydrogen, so they're already on that right side to being sustainable and good energy. So they have a really good thing going for them. So this bill passing might mean they have subsidies coming, and stuff will kind of flow money into plug for their business and kind of propel them forward. So that's obviously a good thing. We know plug's not profitable, but it's exactly what plug does. End-to-end green hydrogen ecosystem that they've been building out. This bill seems to directly go towards them and benefit them. That's why we had this gap up of 25% in one day, just a massive gap, and sustaining these gains. You see it's red a little bit for the next day, but ultimately nothing crazy. 25% gain and a 1.3%, even include after hours, 2.5% loss. Perfectly fine with that. Right now, again, challenging that upper bounds, trying to get above it, and we'll see, how it ends and how it goes for the next following week into their earnings. But a big thing happened with insiders that might tell us where the stock is heading into their earnings. And that would be this right here, where we have a massive insider buying right here. 18 buys by 10 insiders when the stock was around, call it $17 to $19. That was massive buying from these guys in July here. So basically right before their earnings, a month before their earnings. These guys know the numbers. If they're excited and buying the stock, thinking that the stock is super undervalued, then there's probably good earnings coming. So that's what I would be expecting. Good earnings, good numbers, and that's going to send the stock up. And if we can send the stock up, maybe we dodge this whole kind of trying to get above here and send it above 23.63 immediately and have a quick path to 28.37. But that's what this looks like. 18 insiders. You can see this whole chart here going back to last year in July. There's just been massive insider buying and 6 insider sells in April. So not a lot of selling. lots of buying. So a lot of bullish activity on the stock, a lot of people excited about Plug. And these are the insiders who know just a little bit more than me and you. So if they're excited about it and they are excited about what the future for Plug holds, then it's probably a good thing to be in this stock. And it's better to see insiders be excited and want to be a part of the company and think that it's undervalued and going places in the future than seeing the opposite, where maybe insiders are dumping shares and not so much belief in the company. Then maybe you have a little bit of conflict of interest there and some problems developing, but not in Plug Power. If we go again, we can see hedge funds activity is decreasing a little bit. It's not really that ridiculous. I mean, from the last year, hedge fund buying is up massively. We know we saw massive buying from big entities for this last quarter. So this next quarter coming up is probably going to have lots of hedge fund buying. We know a lot of people added to their Plug portfolio recently. So where we went from 11 million shares in September of 2021, 10.5 million in December 2021, and now we have 6.3 million in March. So this next quarter coming up, we'll see. I think we're gonna have a pretty big increase. Hedge funds, obviously, lots of money. When they start putting money into something, the price moves. So could actually happen with Plug. We know lots of things going for green energy, sustainable energy. That's what Plug's about. Green hydrogen. They're building out their infrastructure. They're moving forward with their plans. They're becoming profitable. The goal is 2024. And once they do that, I think there's going to be lots of support behind it from big money and even maybe governments where money is just going to flow into them. And finally, one of the biggest things to look at for Plug Power when it comes to them is their balance sheet. So we want to make sure that on their earnings, these are things kind of paying attention to. Gross profit was negative 35 million. We obviously want to see that go down a bit and see them losing less money and on that path to becoming profitable. We are 2 years early for them being profitable, but it still would be good to see them kind of chipping away this number and getting it lower and lower and getting to a positive number. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it's the end of the world if this goes to 80 million this quarter or 60 million or something. If it goes to 100 million, 150 million, maybe you got more of a problem there. But if it stays around this level or gets better, we're looking pretty good. And another thing is the balance sheet. So right now we had $448 million on the balance sheet for Plug. A little worrisome just because we went from 3.4 billion down to this number. But 448 million at losing 35 to 80 million a quarter still gets Plug to the other side of 2024 to profitability without needing to worry about money and taking on debt at these insanely higher interest rates where debt isn't cheap or money's not free anymore. So that's good for them. And then assets 5.8 billion and liabilities 1.3 billion. So that's a good thing. So we're going to be keeping an eye on asset to liability. That shouldn't really change much, but really keeping an eye on this right here, the cash and cash equivalents for Plug, making sure that they're not burning through this cash, because if they burn through it too fast and they can't get to profitability without taking out more debt or diluting shareholders, then we might have a little bit more problems and bumpy roads. But that's going to be the main things to pay attention to. You can kind of see the trend that we've been on, which has been pretty good for Plug since December 30th, 2018. Debt to asset ratio was almost 1-for-1, and it's just been going down ever since. And we see the explosion in assets to almost 6 billion and liabilities over a billion, 1.34, but down drastically from before. 22% debt to asset ratio. Not bad, especially when you consider 2018. They're almost 1-for-1. So ultimately, Plug Power looks like it's in a good spot. It looks like there might be government kind of support coming in for these types of companies, which we all know basically means infinite money. The government is the best person to do business with because they don't have a balance sheet. They don't have profit and loss. They just send out money. So if these kind of acts and bills that are being passed are going to benefit Plug, then you want them to be in Plug so that you can benefit too. And it's going to push the company forward and probably get them easier to their path of profitability than what it is currently right now. But even if you take away all of that and none of that happens, I still think Plug has the money on its balance sheet to get through the next 2 years to get to their own profitability target and move forward from there. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in my next video.